Good afternoon. I will try to share with you the next half hour my enthusiasm for Ximera when I found out about it 5 years ago. So that's the main purpose. Ximera stands for Ximera, Interactive Mathematical Educational Resources for All, so it's in the same style as GNU and Linux, recursive algorithm. It's an open source platform hosted on GitHub, and this QR code brings you there. If you get bored by my talk, you can, and might be interested in Ximera, you can go to this URL and get the live version of what I am going to show, unfortunately only in PDF, because we make web pages, but I can only show you here a PDF. So the main thing is that it supports authoring, publishing interactive educational content. So this is textbooks and online courses. It does this both in HTML and in PDF, so not only PDF, not only HTML, but both. And importantly, you just write LaTeX code. Yeah? So there's nothing else for an author to do. The ultimate goal, according to the Ximera people, is to promote sustained student success and saving by having all this available in an open source, free form. What does it do? Very easy. You have begin enumerate, end enumerate, and the only thing for this trivial example is that Ximera gives you one new macro \answer, which contains the answer. And from this LaTeX source, we generate 3 things. 2 of them can be done by lots of things. Namely, we generate a PDF worksheet with empty answer boxes. It generates a solution manual with filled-in answer boxes. But importantly, from the same source, it generates HTML pages where the student can enter their answers, and they are validated, and they get feedback when they are correct. Not from this simple source, but I will explain immediately. You can also give hints, you can give complete solutions, and so on. And all this is stored in the text file, yeah? And in the PDF, you can choose which sections you want to print or not. Yeah? Whether you want to have the feedback inside the manual, the printed manual, or the hints, or the solution, and so on. What's the history of Ximera? In 2010, Bart Snapp from Ohio State University made something, I don't know what it was, to migrate LaTeX code to generate some kind of app on the iPad for interactive mathematics. 2 years later, his colleague, Jim Fowler, also at Ohio State University, developed in the hype around MOOCs, a very popular MOOCulus, MOOC on calculus. It's still live, yeah? And based on these things, they got a grant from 2013 till 2016 to develop some kind of interactive workbook, textbook, and they wrote a Ximera class in LaTeX, and they developed a web server and some supporting tools to get this thing working. By 2016, many courses already were existing. Since then, I think around 100 or more than 100 courses are live. 10,000 of students have been following these courses, and they are used at 12 institutions at least. Yeah? But importantly, they are in fact all hosted at this ximera.ozu.edu website, except for the University of Florida, where they had collaborator Jason Noel, who took the open source code and developed it a little bit further, and they added some functionality. And so the University of Florida today has a variant of this Ximera website with some added features. In 2019, Jesse Holbergs, my colleague, and I, at the University of Leuven in Belgium, were looking for a system to convert existing LaTeX files for normal courses, for self-study, and to make them available online. We walked around a bit on the internet, found lots of things, and I got interested in Ximera. So we chose to develop these things in Ximera. And it worked quite well. The funding of Jim and Bart stopped in 2016. Development stalled, essentially. It's fully functional. I said there's tens of thousands of people using it. But there were only bug fixes after that. One of the main things we had to do was, in Belgium, people speak either French or Dutch. We are in the Dutch part, so we needed a Dutch interface. So the first thing we did is to translate all the hard-coded labels and so on in Dutch. And that's why we never really contacted the people of Ximera themselves, because there was not a lot of changes over there, and whatever we had done would not be usable anywhere else because it was hard-coded in Dutch, because we quickly had to make a proof of concept to our powers that be to make sure that Ximera was a viable solution. But things have changed, because in 2024, Jim and Bart, who are the developers and owners of Ximera, the open source project, they got a rather important grant. And so right now there is again money to do actual development. We got in touch a few months ago, and we are now in the process of integrating whatever we did in Ximera with what they plan to do next. This is what I will also talk about. So this is what a course looks like on the Ohio website. So there's a menu at the top, and each menu option gives you one topic. In Ximera, it's called an activity, and this corresponds to one TEG file. Yeah? So each web page is one TEG file, and a course is a selection of TEG files. Exactly the same TEG source, yeah? Literally exactly the same one, shows this one at our server. Yeah? So we changed the layout with CSS and so on, and we get exactly the same. What do you see? There is support for some kind of environments. For instance, here the remark says that it's advisable to also view the PDF version. Yeah? And I will show you the PDF version immediately after. You can get definitions, and here you get interactivity. So here you have to enter exactly the solution. Here with this key, you don't have to enter it because you can also show it. This we use if the answer is very complicated to type. And here, reveal answer is if it's so complicated that we don't even want students to try to enter it. It doesn't make sense. You just show the answer. And this is a drop-down box. So it pulls open, and you get multiple choice answers. We can integrate, well, when I say we, it's always unclear what I mean. It can be we Ximera, or it could be we at Leuven. Yeah? Here it's we Ximera. Can also integrate all kinds of interactivity. So here there is a link to desmos, which I will show you immediately in the text source. It's just /graph y equals cosine x. You get this thing, and end users can, as with desmos, just play with it and use it. So this is the website when you open it, and this is the website once you start filling in answers. This is the PDF. So at the top there is a download button. There is, in our case, always 4 files you can download. You can get this web page without the answers. You can get this web page with the answers. You can get the complete course without the answers, and the complete course with the answers. All these files are completely automatically generated. Yeah? So we don't care. I will show you how we do it. Whenever one pushes a new commit to the TEG repo, 5 minutes later, the website is updated with all dependent TEG files. So this is the PDF. It looks quite the same. Yeah? This is because we took care with the CSS styling and the PDF print style commands to make it look like. But here you see that in the remark, it says it's advisable to also go to the online version. And it says, by the way, you are using the handout, which does not contain the answers, but this PDF says you are using the standard PDF, which does contain. So we can make slight differences between the different versions of the LaTeX. This is exactly the same page, but now it's Bart. So this is one of one. I download just this one activity. It could be a worksheet, for instance. For an activity, it doesn't really make sense, a lot of sense to print one page, but for worksheets it does, because you could give them handouts. They are automatically included in the complete course, and for instance, the numbering is different then. Yeah? Because if we print one page, it doesn't make sense to label it definition 111, because it's definition 1. But if you include it in a course, then it gets the correct number. If you include it in a different course, this particular activity could, of course, be 2.7, and so on. This is the tech code. So it has a document class Ximera, which is an extension of article. Yeah. It defines some extra environments and some extra macros, and it changes some of the functionality of tech. Yeah. One of the nice things is that this activity is an independent LaTeX file. Yeah. PDF LaTeX of this file will generate you PDF. The LaTeX classes are in CTAN since a few months. Yeah? So anyone who has a recent tech live or recent tech can just copy-paste this and it will work, it will generate a PDF. The next thing is input preamble.tech. So whatever is not in the Ximera class, we put in a preamble, which is included typically in all the activities and also in the course. So with a preamble, the idea is that the Ximera class, you do not change, yeah, you get it. But in the preamble, you can define additional macros and additional environments and so on. One of the things, for instance, we did is the official way is to have an author, a title, make title, and a begin abstract, and we made a shortcut XM from Ximera title, which does it at once. Yeah? How do we do the slight PDF differences? It's an atypical usage, because normally the PDFs are identical to the HTML, but if you want to make a difference, you have the command PDF only, which only works in the PDF, and for some reason I do not really understand, begin online only, end online only if you want it to be online only. And then there are some variables, if handout or else. Yeah? In handout mode we say this is the handout, and in non-handout mode we say this is the standard version. So this is slightly advanced usage if you want to make small differences between the two types, or 3 or 4 types, whatever you want to define of output. Then you get the normal definition, nothing special. There is the environment, begin exercise, end exercise. This one is special because the web server that goes with Ximera does know about these environments, knows that it has questions in it. And so Ximera has an LTI integration. It's integrated with your learning management system. And the results of a student answering this will go back to your learning management system. Yeah? And there you will know that on question 1, he answered 5 out of 6 or whatever. So the first example, begin question, is \answer. That gives you in the PDF a square or dots, you can choose it. It's a macro that you set. And if it's answered, you get it with a square around with the solution, or you get it in blue or whatever you prefer to set. If you add the option online show answer button, then in the online version, there will be an extra show the answer. Yeah? You do not have to type it. And if you say online no input, that means that you cannot input it online because we do not want people to try to enter all these digits. Yeah. So these are options you set in LaTeX. To have a multiple choice is easy. There is the command \word choice with lots of choices, of which at least one is correct. If there are 2 correct in this setup, both will be considered correct. There is no way to select them both with a drop-down. But you can also, except for word choice, you have also multiple choice, or select all, where you have multiple choices. To integrate graphs, desmos, it's as easy as this. Yeah? / graph, with some options, how big you want it to be. Well, how big you want the axis to be, and you display the y cos x. Remark that here we are independent of nothing. Yeah? In the sense that if the Desmos website is up, nothing has to be saved on the Desmos website, because we can just give the commands. The same thing happens, well, we also have links with GeoGebra or YouTube or Google Docs or KCCD, the comics thing. Yeah? All this can be just linked, but then, of course, you link to something that exists. Also for GeoGebra, if you make an applet, you have to provide here the SHA of the GeoGebra thing. What's then a course? A course, so Jim and Bart were very fond of the X's, and so with Ximera, they also made courses, rather than courses. So there is a document course, which includes the same preambles, which can set some variables. I forgot to note here that if you print the complete PDF, you get a QR code, which is a hyperlink to this particular page on the website. Yeah? So for instance, for answers, yeah, it's very convenient to not give solutions to the students. They can just push on the button and they come on the website where they have all the interactive explanations and so on. This is decided here, print activity QR coded through. If I set this to false, I don't have the QR codes. Yeah? Here I have print part front page false. Do I want to start each part with an empty, nice front page with a title, or don't I want it? There are tens of variables here that you can set, which are all defined in the print style and the preamble over there. The difference between the print style and the preamble is that the preamble is used always. The print style is only used when we produce PDFs. For instance, page layout and so on doesn't make sense in the HTML version. And so in the print style, you can use things that do not really make sense on HTML. For instance, all the environments are done with T-color box, but on the website we don't want no T-color box because HTML gives much more freedom to style things correctly. And important point, such a course is very, very easy. It's just a list of activity chapters that you want to include. Yeah? Which are the files. So the file I showed you is called theorie.tech. There's another file, exercises.tech, and so on. So composing a course is a trivial business. The way we set it up at KU Leuven is that we now have hundreds of small files, derivatives, chain rule, and so on and so on. Yeah? And exercises such and exercises so. And people who are interested in to provide background information, or typically we use it only for, or up to now, we only use it for entering students. So the content we have in Leuven is about high school level mathematics that we assume known. But it's very easy to compose a course by saying, I want this, this, and this, and this topic. Yeah? You commit it, and 5 minutes later, you have your own URL, which specifically for your course is valid. And we use Git. You can either choose to put it in a different branch, and then you're completely responsible for updates of all these files because you have your own copy, or you can keep it in the main branch, which means that if we correct some mistakes in here or improve, you will get them for free. It's up to the user to choose which thing he wants to do. The whole structure looks like this, so it's a Git repo. You can't use Ximera without Git. Typically, all the content is organized in folders. Authors stands for authors, the demo, Git, and so on. The demo.tech is this file. It's the course. Yeah? And I also have a test.tech, which is a different course which contains less or more things. One of the nice things is that everything compiles out of the box. Yeah? Your activities are standalone text files. You don't have to include whatever, you just PDF LaTeX them. And also the course includes them. Yeah? The trick here is to redefine input to ignore everything that's before the begin document. Yeah? So that you can just include complete files. You see that here is the print style and the preamble. And we set up also these files by now in Leuven are very complicated because most of the structure, almost everything we did on top of what Ximera provided is done in this preamble and print style. It's some not completely trivial tech, yeah, which is not for the typical end user, but some of the variables can automatically be overwritten by the global.style. So this is a very simple file which can, for all your repo, redefine some of the variables. The global.css allows you to change the CSS. Yeah? If you want the definitions in red rather than green, you change the CSS. And if you would put demo.css, this demo.css would override the other defaults, and so for the demo course, you would have a different layout. Yeah? So you could make it that it's clear for students which version of course they are using. The last thing is the GM LaTeX, about which I will talk now. So this is a small example of what hints and solutions look like. So this is if you enter the page, and then if you click on hide hint or hide solution, it's shown or not shown. Unfortunately, I'm not being able to show it to you because I only can show you old-fashioned PDFs during this presentation, but it works live. So, and the only thing you do in tech is begin hint, end hint, and for some stupid reason, we put this in Dutch, begin oplossing, end oplossing, but this begin solution, end solution, that also works. Yeah. It would be very nice with the previous talk, yeah, to be able to generate this kind of tech. I would be really interested in this kind of thing, that we could generate this tech from YAML files. Yeah? And to have a database of questions, yeah, where you say, I want questions such and so, or I want this many questions and so on. But that's not possible right now. Yeah. There are lots of things I won't talk about. So the backslash answer is not completely trivial in the sense that by default x squared minus 4 or minus 4 plus x squared is considered equal. Also, x minus 2 times x plus 2 will be correct. We have LTI integration, but not to the most recent version. That's on the list. There is integration with Sage, so you can do computer algebra integrated with it. All student activities are logged, and you can download it from the website. How do we use this? The classical setup is that a student obviously just needs a browser and goes to the web server, and he has everything. An author typically would need a LaTeX installation, a Git client, an editor, a GPG key, because if he wants to publish something, he has to authenticate. Not everyone can publish. There is a Cake program, which is a joke on Make, to build the HTML and the menus and so on. So this is a Ximera thing. And he needs a browser. What's then the procedure? You git clone the course, you edit your LaTeX code, you commit, and you bake the whole thing that compiles everything. You frost it, that makes it a fixed version, and then you serve it, and it gets published on the website. Yeah. These are inventions from, I think, Jim or Bart, one of the two at least. We at Leuven changed this procedure by using Docker. So people do not use their local tech installation. They can, but they should not. And the Docker contains both Cake and tech. Yeah? Cake is important to have in Docker because it was a pain to get installed. It's written in Go. It depends on all kinds of things. You have to compile it and so on. So this problem is solved by using Docker. So the fact that this disappears is really more important than what it looks like, but even more, this we also don't use anymore because we use it like this. author has Docker. He clones, edits, commits, and he git pushes. And as soon as he git pushes, he arrives at our KU Leuven repository server. There with actions, everything is built, checked, yeah? And it gets served. So also the GPG key disappears now, which also is a pain. Yeah? And validation and authorization is now done on the Git server. Those who have push rights can publish. Those who don't, cannot. Yeah? I told you that there is money since beginning of this year. So what's high on the list is accessibility, a great performance, a great database, so that all the grading, which now is sent to the LMS, it will still be sent to the LMS, but you will also be able to use it without LMS, and the grading will then be inside Ximera. It will have LTI support. There is tag in the browser. People who've never seen this should go to this URL. It will be on the last slide. It's a system by Jim to do tag in the browser. That means you have a tag code, you push compile, and you get a PDF in 1 second, less than 1 second. Yeah? It is not overleaf, it is not running on the server, it's tagging in the browser. This might or will be integrated in Ximera. We will improve the documentation, and so on. Good news for people who have some free time. The Bart and Jim have grants from $500 to $5,000 if you think you can contribute something useful. Are there questions?
And it's not in binary. Eh? Okay, so we have just a couple of minutes for questions or comments. Yep. Marcel?
One question, you mentioned that you generate 2 different kinds of PDF output. So you generate 2 different kinds of PDF output, once with answers and once without. Did you consider also generating a version where optional content is used so that you can interactively show the answers in the PDF file?
We have not looked into interactivity in the PDFs. So in the PDF, it's in there or it's not, but I also would be very interested in that, because I did not show it, but we can have the theorems or remarks collapsible or not. Yeah? Also, this thing only works in HTML. It will be very relevant to have this in the PDF, indicated at least that this is a remark that by default is collapsed, because that means something, namely, that is less important.
A question from Luigi from YouTube chat. He says, impressive. I agree with him. From GitHub, I see that Ximera LaTeX master uses PDF LaTeX. Does it also work with Z LaTeX and or Lua LaTeX?
I've never tried it. It uses, so the whole HTML conversion is not done by us being Ximera, it's just tech for HT. Eh? So I have to ask Michael whether the tech for HT will work. Yeah, voilà. So it should work, yeah. But we will have to look into it. Yeah.
Hi, thank you for the talk. I just looked at tech in the browser. Do you know if it is done with WebAssembly?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
So it's not really magic, but it looks like magic. The first time I saw it, I couldn't believe it.
Okay, I think we'll wrap it up here and move on to our next talk. Thanks again to Wim.